Hello, everybody out there in Radio Land and online. You are tuned into The Divide with Marcus C. Williams here on WRFZ 106.3 Rochester Free Radio. Thank you guys all for tuning in today. This is upstate New York's #1 conservative talk show. We are here to talk to you and share all of those things that you need to hear and have that conversation in your ear. You know, we as a society definitely need to get back to actual dialogue. That's something that we've had a lot of issues with lately. I've seen it over and over and over again. We have so many issues with people not being willing to listen to others. That's a problem. And because they don't want to listen to others, then we end up with, how can you say it? Very serious situations in which people get into confrontations with other individuals because why not? They don't share the same type of view that you do. That's not okay, honestly, if you ask me. But we see a lot of that right now. So as we go on with the show, I want to remind you, this show might not be for everybody or their feelings, because I could honestly care more about your individual feelings as an individual. My job is to give you the information and the facts and let you make a determination from there. That's why one of my favorite things to tell you is to go look it up. You know, I say all the time on this show, don't believe me because I'm saying it. Believe me because I'm telling you. Because I wouldn't be telling you if I wasn't sure on the matter. I don't like to not be right on certain things. And that's a real important thing that we can all take away from engaging with others. Sometimes we just need to, well, not say anything on certain issues that we're not fully versed on or versed enough to have a conversation on. I'll give you a really good example. Earlier today, somebody called me on my phone and they wanted to be upset for whatever the reason was. They said, I wish I had the thing in front of me. Let me see if I can pull it up, what it said, because it was crazy. And this is the type of stuff that you deal with regularly. It says, Marcus, I just saw you on the news. You were talking about you want to see all of this. You want to see more energy put into the community and the things that are happening directly in the community instead of on the federal government and the presidency. All you got to say is you're a effing puppet. You don't care about these people. And I don't know why we elected you. F off. That was a very, very interesting comment. First of all, thank you for taking the time. Thank you. I appreciate you taking your time to actually give me a call and leave a message, even if it was a little bit out of sorts. And thank you for having so much confidence in me that you feel as though I am already elected in civic office when I'm not. But you guys, I do a lot of work in the community and a lot of civic engagement with elected officials, as well as promoting policy and giving solutions on areas that I see that are deficient in our actual city and or state. And occasionally, if you watch my shows or live streams, I'll talk about the federal government as well. Like on this show, we talk about the federal government and international trade and stuff like that more than I do about local issues. But like that nasty phone call right there, I said, let me call this guy back, So I called this guy. I said, hey, yo, I said, I got your message. I said, you really sound like you feel some type of way. What's up? And he was like, well, da 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 da. And I was like, well, listen, check me out. My biggest concern is right here in my backyard. If you guys can hear the sirens speeding by behind me. But my biggest concern is the issues in my community right now. We've got all the crime and violence, as you can hear the police sirens wailing behind me. We've got the failing educational system. We've got all types of issues with housing, not to mention the homelessness and the drug addicts and all types of other problems that continue to go unaddressed. And that's something that's really, really very serious. And that's something that we need to address right now. The federal level stuff is something that's more on a level that is not directly impacting us every day. And then talking to this individual, they were like, oh, well, this and that. And matter of fact, before I continue, make sure you hit the thumbs up, hit the like, hit a share. Definitely share this and get it out there, because the more you share, the more you comment, the more people that'll get eyes on the show. If you drop a comment, I'll do my best to pop it up on the screen and we'll talk about it as we go on with the show. So drop a couple comments, even if they're just thumbs up or American flags or heart emojis, drop those and definitely hit some thumbs up. Dorian, I see you there. What's your policies? Dorian, you got to be more specific than specifically that. Is this on stage? Okay, it is. Yeah. Dorian, you got to be more specific than specifically that. You got to tell me what exactly, which policies. So anyway, as I was talking about this guy on the phone, so the guy on the phone, I left that nasty voicemail as I'm talking to him. I'm like, well, what else are the issues that you see that are your issues or whatever the case is? And then, man, let me tell you, they started talking about the Arabs and the Jews and the this and the that. And I'm just like, listen, I understand that that's an important issue, okay, to you and to many people. But my issue is right here, right now. You're talking about something that is beyond what I'm dealing with every day. Let me fix the immediate issues that we have, and then I can better inform myself on the geopolitical implications of wars that have been going on for almost 2,000 years and how that impacts us here in society and the mechanisms of control in our society as things go. Like, I mean, I can't deal with what? That's got nothing to do with my everyday life immediately right now. Not when I got the people can't be locked up with the criminals going around stabbing random people and stuff like that. That's crazy. I ain't got time for that. Let me see. Dorian, if you got an actual question, then just saying something so it's not enough there. You gotta give me something specific. You can't just ask generally what are your policies, because I got a ton of them on different levels of government. Depends on what you're talking about. So drop a comment, drop a like, hit the thumbs up, hit share. So as we go into this conversation for today, I just want to remind you guys, sometimes you got to talk to people, other people that might disagree with you or seem like they disagree with you, and find out if they actually disagree with you and why they might think what they think. You know, a lot of people just are so gung-ho about what they believe and what they feel and all of this stuff that it doesn't matter what you think, what you believe, or how tangible what you're saying is, or how reasonable what you're saying is. They just refuse to hear you. In this case, we were able to reach a common medium, me and this guy that left me a crazy voicemail, because I'm like, bro, man, the people are dying on my street. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's only so much that I can control. I'm not the president. I'm not the what do you call it, the House whip or somebody that's in the power in the Senate or whatever the case is. What exactly do you think that it is that you think that I can do to bring down a nefarious cabal of individuals that are shadowy behind the government, pulling all the strings, that are disenfranchising all of the citizens and slowly marching us to a tyrannical order from both sides of the government? Like, I talk about these things in broad subjects, but I mean, what exactly is it that you think me, like I don't have billions of dollars to actually go out and do something like that, or some sort of a huge network to affect world affairs on that level of gravity as of yet. But I do appreciate them believing that I do. That is awe-inspiring and gave me so much confidence to fight forward. I appreciated that. Even if it was tied up in an insult, But when we talk about stuff like that, I want to talk about the protests over the weekend. We had the protests, what did they call them? The hands-off rally. Let's jump into that. So the hands-off rally, and I did a video on my YouTube and X, and you can find it on my Facebook as well. Just yesterday, I posted it in relation to the hands-off rally. Please go check out that video. But essentially, the hands-off rally should be very concerning to everybody. no matter what side of the political spectrum you're on. Here's the deal. What we saw was a mass aggregate of 20, 30 different types of groups. None of them have the same stuff going on. Some of them are alphabet stuff. Some of them are climate stuff. Some of them are Ukraine things. Some of them are save the toads or whatever the case is. And I'm being hyperbolic, but essentially that's what it is. All different types of concerns and stuff like that, And they're trying to aggregate their anger and fury and hate all together in one place at one time. Now, why would you need to do that? Why would you want to do that? That sounds like a recipe for very serious situations, right? And this is concerning to me, you guys. So I encourage you to go look up Operation Gladio. And what Operation Gladio was, it was a CIA operation that was in partnership with NATO, where they trained these individual cells in Europe to possibly be ready to destabilize any type of government in there, if need be, by the powers that be. And they also supplied them with various caches of weapons throughout the Europe and different places. And Spain found out that that was a thing, because, it sounds like a conspiracy theory, but it's not a conspiracy theory. It's a conspiracy fact. And this is why I always remind people that the one thing that's important to always remember, I see you there, Tony. Shout out to Tony. Thank you for watching the show, Tony. Thank you for commenting. Appreciate you. So, as I always tell people, when somebody says that something's a conspiracy theory and tries to discount it, remember that conspiracy is illegal on the federal level and on the state level. Even though I live in New York State is a whole lot of hot trash when it comes to legislation and laws. It's still an illegal crime to commit conspiracy. So Operation Gladio was a legit conspiracy ran by the CIA and in partnership with NATO to train these cells that would possibly be able, when called upon, perform acts as individual groups that could destabilize the regimes in those various countries or the people in power and cause all types of chaos. And what did we see over the weekend? A whole bunch of these NGOs and nonprofits that are all relatively funded behind the scenes by similar people and similar causes, okay, all with the concept behind that of destabilizing our country, which many of the people inside these groups don't even realize. So when we see this, we have to talk about these things because it's very, very important that we break down and encourage people to understand more of what's going on. These groups as individual groups are sometimes minor annoyances or whatever the case like that is. But when they're bringing them all together, why would you possibly want to bring them all together? They're not uniting them to have a happy barbecue. They're uniting them with hate, right? Like that was the whole point of the rally. And I need you to understand this, especially if you consider yourself to be somebody on the left or to consider yourself to be a Democrat. This should be concerning with you because these people are being manipulated. There was one of these Free Palestine people that I saw online, and she was mad. I think she was at either New York or Chicago. It doesn't matter. But she was mad that it was largely only the older people that were out there in those rallies, because those were the people that were being targeted by the unseen hand or whatever you want to call it, behind the scenes manipulating them. Those groups are largely full of people that are retirees or were from the 70s and were counter-revolutionaries or whatever the case is. And we need to have those serious conversations. She noted something very important, even though she supports leftist causes. Why is it only these groups of people? Well, I'm telling you why it's only these groups of people, because this was them showing you that it could be done. And they united them under hate. Kevin, I see your message. I'm going to pop it up in a second. They united them for hate. They united them for Orange Man bad. They united them for down with Elon Musk, rave against the Republicans, And this is a very serious issue because it was all about hate, and that's a problem. Now, I guarantee you, you mark my word on this, we're going to see them be used for very devious and serious things in the near future. In 2026, we have the midterm elections coming up. I guarantee you two things are going to happen between now and then. Okay. The most likely things that are going to happen are this. One, they use these people and they try to rally them to help their various candidates get elected in the next two elections, this one at the end of 2025 and in 2026. And generally, they're going to be pushing for people that we wouldn't even want to be in office. And I'm not talking about the people on the right. I'm talking about the people on the right, people on the left, just people in general would not want these individuals in office if they really knew what they were about. Because all of that's being played on them, on us, it's all a game. It's all a game. We are all being played, and we need to recognize that. It's very, 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 very serious. Let me try to pop up Kevin's comment before we go on, because I see we got something else coming in too. Tony says something. Kevin says, what does Kevin say here? Kevin says, Wham put a statement from you on the news regarding the hands-off rally. Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate you sharing that. Yes, they did. I was telling people in that news report, because they were covering the protests, I was saying that they need to focus all this same type of energy that they got for down with Trump and down with Elon Musk on our crumbling education system and the crime that's pervading our areas and neighborhoods. You understand what I'm saying? Like they need to focus on that. I never see any of these people at school board meetings or at city council meetings. They're nowhere to be found, but apparently they care so very, very much. Okay. And the fact of the matter is they don't really seem to care at all, because you needed this to do what? Say that you don't like Trump, that you hate Trump, or that you hate Elon Musk? Where's that energy for our issues locally? Look at all of the human trafficking that we have going on in Rochester right now. Where's your energy for that? We got over 2,000 homeless of school-age children in the city of Rochester. Where's your energy for that? You know, our city council and the mayor just don't seem to care about crime. And they tell us that everything is fine. We had a gentleman that was shot in his business and killed last week. We had a young lady that was beat up and brutalized in a robbery at her job the other week. And we had multiple people stabbed just over the weekend. We had multiple people stabbed, multiple people shot, multiple houses shot up. Where's the energy for that? Where's the energy for that? I was reading in the news, well, not even the news, in one of the police blotters, where they were saying that they stole over, what was it, somewhere between $25,000 and $35,000, no, not 35, $50,000 worth of merchandise from Lululemon. Where's the outrage over that? You know, these are the problems and the serious issues that we have locally where I am. I'm in a blue city, in a blue state. I don't know where you are, but here where I am, it's off the chain. But they want to come together for Orange Man bad. That shows you that the hand behind these people that they don't even see is manipulating them doesn't really care about what's going on in our everyday lives. They are pushing an agenda behind the scenes that's devious and that's trying to destabilize our country. Let's see. We got another comment by Tony. Tony says, let's see what Tony says. Tony says, hey, Marcus, I can't hang on, bro. I have some things to do. Thanks for the invite to the group. Talk to you. All right. Catch you later, Tony. Appreciate you coming through. So as we continue with this conversation, please make sure you hit the thumbs up, hit the heart, hit the like, and share this out and get this message out to more people. So back to this hands-off rally. Now, I'm going to tell you what I see coming. They're going to use these people to push in all of these candidates in the next 2 years, this year in November and next year during the during the midterms. If they don't get their desired candidates, they're going to encourage them to act a rabid, raw fool. Somebody, matter of fact, sent me a message. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Somebody sent me a message from where they are. They're in another part of the country. I think they're in Tennessee. And they sent me a message and it says, let me see. Will it pull up? Okay. It says, what we should do from here after these protests is We need to do everything that we can to fight back against elected leaders. There are more of us than them, and they are regressive authoritarians in power. What does that mean? What does that mean? It continues. They're important community building exercises, and it's going to take a lot more direct action. It's going to take a lot more sacrifice. A lot more sacrifice? Sacrifice? What do you mean sacrifice? It's going to take a lot more sacrifice that not everybody who comes to protest and march and cheer and sing will be willing to do. Listen to what they said. Do I need to read that again? I think I might need to read that last sentence again. Listen to the little parts in there. The silence speaks volumes. There are important community building exercises, but it's going to take more direct action. I'm going to emphasize that, direct action, and it's going to take lots more of sacrifice than everybody who comes to the protest or march and cheer and sing will be willing to do. They're talking about highly aggressive action is what they're talking about. Hello, people? That's what they're talking about. That's what they're encouraging. I'm telling you, I'm warning you now. And she shared this with me after she watched my video yesterday. She said they just posted this morning. So I was ahead of this. I warned that it was coming. And they're letting you know right now what is coming. They're going to use these people for very aggressive action. What does that mean, Marcus? What is aggressive action? Violence. Violence. That's what their plan is. People are going to have to make more sacrifices and take higher levels of action, sacrifices that not everybody's going to be willing to take. Are you listening to the words that they're using? Like, it's not even hidden. It's not even secret. They're telling you outright exactly what they're up to. Now, I do encourage you while you're watching the show, before we continue, please hit the heart, hit the thumbs up, drop a comment. I will share your comment. Even if your comment is just like a little American flag, drop an American flag in the comments if you hear me and you're with me. Okay. Do hit that thumbs up, do hit that share, and please do donate to the show, because what we're working on doing is we're working on raising $50 to $100 every episode so we can get more airtime, so we can talk more about these important things that are going on scale here in our city and in our state and across the nation and the world. Please do donate. You can donate via Cash App. That's $MW Real, the number one. That's $MW Real, the digit one. Or you can do Give Send Go and givesendgo.com/Marcus C. Williams. We also have Venmo and PayPal, and that's at Marcus C. Williams. Just drop like $10, $25 in there, whatever you can do, because airtime does cost money. We would like to even get another show on during the week, one other show, so we can talk more about what's going on. And we're trying to save some money to get some new equipment, some better equipment. I know you guys can probably see the camera jumping every now and then and might hear the little audio flickers. But we're working on that, so please do donate. Help us out. Drop whatever you can. And if you do donate, when you do donate, drop a comment, let us know, and we'll share it on the screen and let other people know too. Or don't drop a comment, just donate, and we won't share that, because I know not everybody wants people to know that they're donating. Let's see. Jesse says, thank you for having these real, thank you for having these real and much needed conversations. Jesse, I appreciate you ever so greatly. Thank you so much for tuning in and liking and sharing our show, because if we don't have these important conversations, they're just not going to get out there. They're not. And that's why we must share them out. That's why we must talk about these issues. Like another issue, and I'm going to try to follow up with this whole hands-off rally and why it's even more important than what we're seeing. But I want to talk about the tariffs for a moment. So a lot of people are mad at the tariffs. So, okay, that's fine. But now they're associating the tariffs with the stock market. And again, okay, that's fine. But here's my question. Why are you upset about the stock market? Do you not know how the stock market works? When you speculate on the stock market, when you send fear into people, people sell off their stocks. When people sell off their stocks, the value of the market goes down. So vicariously, by you saying, oh my gosh, the stock market is terrible and everything's horrible, that sends down the prices of stocks. I really wish people would understand that, and that's how the actual stock market works. This whole stock market is speculation. There's nothing tangible in the stock market. Stock market has legitimately no value. It does not exist. It's fake money. Honestly, the money that is in these stocks is only valued by what the people will pay for it. And everybody that's complaining, oh, the stocks are down, the stocks are down. Down compared to what? Down compared to what? They're not even that far down. We just got job numbers in from March. Job numbers were like 235,000 new jobs were added when what was expected was about 100,000. So we're doubling some change over the jobs added to the market, and those were private sector jobs because the government is cutting government jobs. So can we have that serious conversation? By what metrics are you grading our economy? And this is a serious conversation because people are sharing this information saying everything's bad, everything's bad. Who is telling you everything is bad? Prices on eggs is down considerably. Prices on gas is down considerably. What metrics are you using? The stock market? It's something crazy, like really, really high. I don't remember what it is officially right now, but it's between 86 and 92% of Americans do not own any stocks. 86 and 92%. They got people out here that don't know what a stock is complaining about the stock market. Somebody make it make sense to me. Why? Because they're told to be fearful, because they're told to be scared. And remember, this is the best quote that I've ever heard in relation to this type of stuff when it comes to devious policy and devious politics. And this quote comes from, I can't remember what show it was, but it was either, I believe it was Witcher, the animated series, or it might have been Castlevania, the animated series. But there was this terrible guy that was in charge of this town, and he said, they asked him why was he doing some stuff to his people or whatever, secretly, devious stuff. And he said, because it's easy to steal people's meager possessions when you fill them full of fear and terror. I said, man alive. I said, that is the most true statement I have ever heard. I said, it's very, very true. It's easy to steal people's meager possessions when you fill them full of fear and terror. That's a powerful quote. And that's what we see is being operated on by many people in politics right now. Fear. They're driving fear because that drives concern, and that makes people make missteps, and that also prompts people to anger. So the more people that they can prompt to anger and make upset, the more power and control that they can have over people. Fear is the most powerful thing in the world. It honestly is. Okay. And it's also something that's hard to overcome for many people because they feel alone, they feel cut out, they feel left out. So we look at things like this hands-off rally, and what it is it's a gross aggregate of all of these people that they've spun up into a fury over hate through fear. You understand what I'm saying? And this is what we need to have a serious conversation on. And I believe a lot of people don't actually see how serious this is. And I'll give you an example, a famous quote by Yoda, right? Yoda, the Star Wars guy. Yoda says, fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. Come on, man. I mean, if the TV can tell you that, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Listen to Yoda from Star Wars, okay? Because this is what this is. This is the fear that they're driving in society to encourage these people to anger and to encourage them to hate. They had a whole hate unity rally across the nation, and everybody's just like, ho hum, things are okay. Things are not okay. You should be absolutely terrified, whether you're on the right or on the left. Because what that drives to is totalitarian authoritarianism. And they're out here talking about, oh, down with fascism. You're being fascist. You're trying to put more control in the hands of government. You're like, expand the government. The government needs to create more jobs. They need to be in control of more industry. They need to have a bigger, more wide regulations on everything. That's what you're pushing. That is the definition of fascism applied. And you can see that many people don't understand that because they're out there standing up for things like, what do you say, socialism or communism? And socialism and communism are just authoritarian regimes that are right a butt to fascism. Communism, socialism, fascism, authoritarianism, totalitarianism, tyranny, it's all tyranny. All of it. It's all tyranny. All of it. Okay? Just covered and repackaged in a different way. It's all the repression of the people by the government because it puts the government in control. And all of these people are saying that they want to give more power to the government. That is scary. Everyone should be terrified. And it's so despicable and disgusting, it makes me want to spit. It's a problem. It's a real problem. And we need to have these conversations and we need to address these things. Please hit the like button, hit the share button, drop a heart or an emoji, or drop an American flag, an arm or whatever in the comments so I can see it, so that it'll also kick the algorithm to get that message out there to show it to more people. And definitely share on your page, share on other pages. You're listening to The Divide on WRFZ 106.3 Rochester Free Radio. This is The Divide with Marcus C. Williams. Let's jump right back into it. Okay. What we are seeing now is a complete shadow hand manipulating these people all together. And as with the posts that I shared from one of those groups, radical groups, they're planning on using them for violence. They said it out their own mouth. I shared the post. I read it to you on air. That's what they're saying. You guys, you gotta wake up. You gotta wake up. No matter what side you're on, left, right, center, it doesn't matter. These people are out to destabilize our whole nation, and they're using them. Jesse Evans says excuse me. She says it's a color revolution right out of the playbook. You're 100% right. That's exactly what it is, Jesse. They're fermenting a color revolution, just like the Red Revolution in Russia, okay, which ushered in communism, okay, just like the Bolsheviks, okay. That's what we just saw happen a couple of years ago during the Arab Spring, which toppled the government of Egypt, okay, and instituted the Muslim Brotherhood, which ended up with us having to topple the Muslim Brotherhood, which is crazy. It's crazy. It also happened, we also saw this in various other places. This is what they tried to ferment in Syria, but it didn't work out so good. But by fermenting a color revolution in Syria, we ended up with the, what do you call them? ISIS, okay, Daesh, whatever you want to call them. We ended up with creating ISIS because of that. And look at how big a problem that ISIS is still in many places. We did that by fermenting a color revolution. Our CIA, our people that are in power on the highest levels, okay, and honestly, the shadow hand that is the elite behind everything in the Western world. Because at the end of the day, they're the ones that profit, okay? People say, oh, America is imperialist. I could only wish America was imperialist. What territory are we taking? None. That's something that's very frustrating with me. We get into all these wars and we don't take any territory. And our soldiers that fight so hard for life and limb, for preservation of themselves and what our country sees as the direction forward, they can't even take spoils of war. You must be playing in my face. If I was in charge, I'd say, whatever country, we're not going to war with anybody unless we're annexing the territory. And the soldiers can take spoils of war. It doesn't make any sense that they have to sacrifice themselves and they can't even take spoils of war. That's a game that I'm not trying to play with nobody. They deserve, rightfully so, to keep what they kill. Okay? I believe that very firmly. Now, as we talk about this, though, and we talk about the color revolutions that have happened all over the world, we see that happening in the Balkans right now. They're fermenting a revolution of a whole bunch of different types of cells coming together to try to overthrow Erdogan in Turkey. And that's not me saying that I support Erdogan or anything like that. I got some very serious thoughts on Erdogan. And if you followed me for some time, you already know. But it's to point out that these are the same manipulations that we're seeing here. We've seen the same thing happen in Serbia. Go look it up. Please look it up. Okay, we've seen the same thing. They tried to kill the prime minister of Hungary. Okay, like you got to look these things up. This is what's going on right now. In France, they just got rid of one of the major, I guess you would say, opposition people that is likely to win in the next election. Okay, her name is Marie Le Pen. And she's already ahead in the polls. She's at like 36% in the polls, ahead of everybody else. Now, in France, their polls work a little differently. I don't have time to explain that today, but no, that's a serious number ahead, and the election there is until 26. So, and Macron's just doing all types of crazy stuff. So that's serious, and she's likely to win. They tried to push her party out of a lot of the offices that they've won in the beginning of this year. So that's a very serious thing we need to look at. We have to look at what they did in Germany. Okay, they tried to do that same thing in Germany to prevent some of the opposition party there from getting into offices, just using it against candidates and stuff like that, and even going so far as saying that certain people that are running for office can't run for office. And this is something that we need to be privy of, and we need to be paying attention to very, very closely. Okay, Sean says something here. Sean, let's see what you got to say. Sean says, love what you're doing, Marcus. I appreciate you so much, Sean. Please, everybody out there, hit the thumbs up, hit the heart button, share this with other people, your friends, your family. Heck, share it with your enemies, okay? And make sure that they tune in every Monday, 2:30 to 4 p.m. on WRFZ 106.3 Rochester Free Radio. Or you can tune in on my YouTube. And if you're watching my YouTube right now, subscribe. And if you're watching me on any other social media, make sure that you follow, okay? My YouTube is the Marcus C. Williams channel. Now, as we go further down this little serious rabbit hole that we've got going on here that continues to grow, because it's the slow erosion of our whole, I guess you would say, social and cultural strata in our nation. This is very alarming. And I encourage you to look up what's going on in Europe, because a lot of people don't see what's going on in Europe, so they don't understand what's being done. This whole game that we're seeing play out here, we've seen play out other places. Okay, we actually saw this play out in Ukraine back, what was it, 2014? But we can't even talk about that. That's a whole separate conversation. That's how Zelensky wormed his way in there. Okay, and say what you want about Ukraine, Zelensky is a piece of trash. Okay, he let his whole people die. Okay, he got on his war minister got on the TV and said Zelensky authorized a plan to blockade all of Kiev to prevent the people from escaping during the onset of the original attack with Russia, so that the people would be used as human shields. I can't, with anybody that's supposed to be a leader, to use that type of no. That's unacceptable. Okay, that's some real Nazi communist nonsense. Okay, that's insane. I believe very firmly in fighting everybody to the last man, but you don't just throw people that don't want to be into something as a human shield. That's despicable, and there's no recovery from that. Okay, that's very, very serious. But this is, again, we're seeing stuff like this all across the world right now. We just saw in South Korea. The South Korean president declared martial law last year in South Korea, and then I guess you call them the Congress or the Parliament, essentially their Congress. Many of them, he said he declared martial law because many of them have been co-opted by China. Now, we know that that's most likely true, because there was a whole thing where China had subverted the whole Australian parliament. And that was a big thing that everybody knew. We can see that China has done the same thing in many of the island nations over there in the, I guess, what do you call it? I don't know, whatever you call it over there. Not just the South China Sea, but all of that area in Indonesia, the Pacific area, and all of that stuff. And even in the Caribbean. Look at Jamaica right now. It's a problem. So we need to have these serious conversations. So he said he implemented martial law to try to smoke out these people. And what did the people do? They're so embedded in the government, they impeached him, and now they're trying to kick him out of office. And they got enough votes to kick him out of office. So China's running South Korea right now. That's bad. That's bad. They did the same thing to Taiwan a couple of years ago, where they were running Taiwan through some proxy leaders and stuff like that. But that's why they ferment this type of dissent, and they use these individualistic cells to try to link them all together for higher levels of aggressive action. And if they're not smoked out, if they're not driven out, then the enemies win. Let's see what else we got going on here. Okay, so these are very important conversations we need to have that are not being had. And if we don't have these conversations about the direction that we're going, nobody's going to realize what happens. I warned my city council person some years back, before the riots that we had across the nation during COVID, the summer of love. Before those riots, like a couple years before those riots, I warned that they were coming because I could see that they were going to happen. Ask him, Mitch Gruber. If you're watching, okay, you can ask him. I sat with him. I told him to his face, and he laughed at me. He thought it was funny. And I said, this is exactly what's going to happen, because you can see it by the level of actions that are coming. Okay, you can say that I'm a prophet. You can say that I'm a Swami. I don't care about any of that. I can very clearly see the patterns that are going on. And if you are a history buff, or you like history at all, especially the history of warfare, or follow the history of the destabilization of many governments and stuff like that, you can easily see and predict what's going to happen here. Okay, maybe it's a blessing from God, and I'm a prophet for all of you to share the information from the Lord that he would have me share with you, which I already know that that's what it is, which sometimes that gets very frustrating because so few people listen. But the fact of the matter is that it's easily seen if you're actually willing to look at it. And we have to prepare ahead of time. Buy more ammo. Straight facts, buy more ammo. I don't trust nothing that's going on right now. And you guys, if you follow me for some time, you know I'm not a big fan of the government. I don't care who's in office. Okay? I might like one candidate better than the other. I might like a candidate's policies. Okay? It does not mean that I trust the government of the United States of America. I love my country. I do not trust my government at all. I want the government to be shrunk so small that it can fit in the palm of my hand and I could squeeze it and crush it if I feel like it. Okay? Do not trust our government, period, point blank, end of story. And that's the state government or the federal government. Because at the end of the day, the government has one point of service, and that's itself, perpetuating itself. Okay, that's why they have all of these different, what do you call them, safe areas across the country, and bunkers and mountains and underground facilities and stuff like that, to save the people that are in office and to save and preserve the government. It's not to save and preserve you. You understand what I'm saying? In certain other countries and this is crazy, this is going to sound real crazy, but it's a whole truth. When Russia was a communist country, Lord have mercy. I hate having to say anything positive about any country that's communist. When Russia was a communist country, the USSR, they actually built many bunkers to preserve whole towns full of people. Is the U.S. doing that for its people? Absolutely not. They don't care about you. They care about preserving the government and the elites. Look at all these elites building all of these bunkers, like in Hawaii, like Oprah and Bill Gates and the Facebook dude. What's his name? I don't remember his name. It escapes me. I can see Zuckerberg. Okay. And Zuckerberg and the rest of them. Okay. Building all of these bunkers and stuff like that. These are the people some of the people that are financing some of the insanity that's going on behind the scenes that they're using to destabilize our government. But can we have that conversation? Okay, if you guys are following, please make sure that you share, get a heart, drop a comment, drop an American flag in the comments or a thumbs up in the comments, and I'll see it so that it'll help kick the algorithm to get it out to more people. And please do donate. We're working to raise $50 to $100 an episode. You can donate $10, $15, $25, whatever you can, or more if you can, via Cash App. That's $MW Real, the number one. That's $MW Real, one, the digit one. Okay. We also have PayPal and Venmo, and you can donate at Marcus C. Williams. We have givesendgo.com/Marcus C. Williams as well. Please donate whatever you can. everything that you donate will help us get more equipment or pay for more airtime. We got to get these types of messages and have these conversations more often. And we're working on trying to get a whole nother show during the week so that we can share this with you. So please do donate. We appreciate you greatly. Now, as we go back into this conversation about everything that's going on right now, we have to actually take 2 seconds and look at a very serious thing that just happened in the House of Representatives. Okay. So for a long time, I've been saying things like, these Mexican American females been winning. They have. They really have. They've been very patriotic and they're beautiful and gorgeous and stuff like that. Now, personally, I prefer my Puerto Rican American females to the Mexican American females, but they fly too. Okay. But they've been standing up more for conservative and family values than the Puerto Ricans have, and Puerto Ricans need to get up on it. Okay. So this is what I've been seeing. And now we've got one, Ana Paula Luna. Okay. She's been pretty all right most of the time, but now she's pushing for some bill to have, what do you call it? Not really proxy voting, but voting in abstention, like when you're not on the floor, like you can vote. So that's not good. That's not good at all. So she wants that, and she's saying, oh, well, it's for pregnant mothers, so pregnant mothers can vote when they're not able to be there because they're dealing with their children or whatever. First of all, excuse me. Y'all know me. If you've watched me for some time, I support comprehensive families. I support 2-parent families and 2-parent households. Okay. The fact of the matter is, if you are pregnant and you've chosen to get pregnant at the time when you are in office, okay, we need you there, because there's a whole bunch of stuff that you can't do digitally or remotely if you are not on the floor, if you are not in the House, if you are not in the Senate, and that disservices the community and the people, but also it opens it up to massive fraud. There's a massive potential, not just for fraud, but coercion, okay? Because who knows if somebody's holding a gun to your child's head behind the camera where you're voting? Do you even need the camera on to vote? You know, are you texting your vote in by phone? Like, what does this even look like? Now, I'll give you the best example I can. In New York State, we have that type of voting system, which is terribly tragic. It got largely taken back after, was it last year, year before last? But now they've got this ridiculous thing where you can just proxy vote. You don't even have to come to the floor. Let me say this again. I'm going to say this real slow because it bothers me so much. In New York State, unless you disagree with a bill that your party is putting forward, you don't even have to come to the floor and vote. Okay. And the pay rate for these people, they just gave themselves a raise, is about $175,000 a year for the state assembly and for the state senate. Can we have that conversation? That includes the per diem and everything that they get. Can we have that serious conversation? No, nobody wants to have that conversation. You don't have to come to the House floor in New York State to go and vote. Only if you want to oppose a bill. Now, I need you to think about that. If you have to come in to oppose a bill, how much likely are you to come oppose a bill? Less likely. And if you have to come in to oppose a bill that your own party is doing, what is the likelihood that they won't coerce you not to do it? Because you'd be the only person on the floor there voting against the bill that your party leaders are pushing. In this case, Andrea Stewart Cousins and Carl Hesty in the state assembly and the state senate for New York State. So we already have this very serious issue in New York State right here. I do not need that at the federal government. Plus, it's unconstitutional. But they're pushing it like it's okay because they're like, oh, it's just for pregnant women. It's just for pregnant women today. Today. Tomorrow it'll be for somebody's got a doctor appointment or somebody's on vacation. You know, we need to have that serious conversation. We didn't even have that as an option in New York State. They just full went digital voting during COVID. And it was hard as heck to get them to pull that back at all. That was very serious. They weren't even coming into the Capitol building at all. Craziness. This is very dangerous and a slippery slope. What I'm seeing right now, I call it the right left. Okay. Excuse me, the right light. I see you there, Jesse. I'm going to pop up your comment in a second. I call it the right light. And what that is it's people that are so-called right-leaning people or in the Republican Party or whatever that are slowly moving us more towards the left, okay? And that's a very serious thing to me. Very, very serious. That's a problem. And we can't go in that direction. Well, we can and we are, and that's a very big problem. We need to return to our traditional and conservative roots of the Republican Party, but more so of that are the traditional conservative roots of our nation, right? Like, it's not even about party. Our nation, it has deep, steep tradition and deep, steep conservative values, and we need to return to that. Like, one of the biggest issues that we have is we've gotten away from the Lord, our Father in heaven above, and that's why we have all of these crazy issues. That's why we have all those crazy issues. And if you don't know Jesus Christ and haven't accepted him as your Lord and Savior, please read the Bible, look into it, and consider it deeply. All right. And if you are a Christian and you've fallen away from the church, please read your Bible. Okay. It's very important that we get back and we get in tune with the Bible and with scripture. It's very, very important. And then that way we can see a better guide for our lives and we can hopefully restore some sensibility to our nation. Let me see. Jesse says, let me see. They don't even know what the whole bill contains. That's right. We already have a problem when people, this proxy voting, okay, voting not being there on the floor, we already have a serious issue with them putting forth 400-page bills at 12 o'clock at night and you having to vote on the bill at 8 o'clock in the morning. That happens all the time. It happens regularly. And it's very scary and very concerning. And that's why I believe that we should only have bills that are single issue bills, okay? And all that extra fluff and pork fat and all of that stuff, pork barrel spending, they call it. All of that stuff should be cut out of these bills. It should be a law. It should be illegal for pork barrel spending, okay? It should be illegal to have stuff in all of these extra bills that don't have any relation to it. It should be illegal. Congress should pass that. You want to pass a law, Congress? Pass that. Do something for the people. You know, but they don't want to do that because then they won't be able to hide all of the nonsense that's funding their special stuff and select projects that they want for their benefactors and for their off-island accounts and stuff like that. Jesse says they're rhinos. No, Jesse, these people are not rhinos. I wish they were rhinos. The rhinos are a whole different class. It's so disgusting. It makes me want to spit. These people are not rhinos. So you think of a rhino, you think of people like, what's that lady's name? Oh my goodness, I'm not even able to remember her name. Her daddy's Dick Cheney. What's her name? Liz Cheney. You think of like Liz Cheney, or you think of somebody like Nikki Haley, or you think of somebody like what's the other guy's name? Mitt Romney, people like those. Those are what you would consider rhinos. Rhinos are more of the traditional elite class. And then we've got people that are I guess you would say, they're running cover, right? They're pretending that they're actual Republicans on certain issues. But when it suits them, they try to creep in this liberalist, leftist nonsense. Creep it in there just a little bit at a time. That's what I call the right light. Okay. LITE. Okay. Right light. That's them. So they're a little different than the rhinos. And they're a serious problem because they're harder to see. Like I said, I like Anna Paula Luna up until this nonsense. All of a sudden, out of nowhere. Matter of fact, she even had a bill the other day that she got AOC to co-sign with her to push to limit the amount of credit card interest to 10%. I think that's a fantastic bill. Honestly, I don't think there should be any credit card interest because usury is a crime against my religion, and it is also a crime against the historical nature of our country. But that's a whole broader conversation that nobody wants to actually have that conversation. That's a serious one right there. But she pushed that. That's a good bill. That's a really good bill. And I'm happy that AOC, even though I can't stand Ocasio-Cortez, even though she clamped on with it, I thought it was a good idea. But then here she comes with this bill talking about you don't have to be on the floor to vote. You can be wherever in Timbuktu. Okay. And speaking of that, and I encourage you to watch more of the Senate committee hearings and the House of Representative hearings. I saw one of them today with Jenny Erst. Jenny Erst, and she said, I appreciate that. Let's see. Jesse says, I appreciate your clarification. Yeah, it's an important clarification. We gotta make sure that we distinguish, because they're two different separate threats. The rhinos and the right light are two separate different levels of threat, and we gotta address them both immediately and appropriately. And right now, the more serious threat is the right light. And for those who just tuned in, I see a bunch of you guys just jumped on. The right light are the people that seem conservative or seem like they're very Republican, and then all of a sudden they pop up something that's very leftist, very liberal, or against our traditional values out of nowhere. So, but they're moving us fastly to the left, and that's their whole goal. Just do it a little bit at a time. You know, that's a problem. We saw that happen with the Democrats. The Democrats, they had the socialists and people get in there and they just move them more and more and more to the left. And at first they didn't realize it was happening. They didn't consider it a threat. And then all of a sudden, poof, now they're the party of totalitarian authoritarianism. And that didn't happen overnight, you know? So, but back to what I was saying, the direction that we're going with our nation right now, we have to be very careful. We're in a very precarious situation where we've got all of these people that are seeking to do us harm. Again, and I'm going to say this very clearly, I don't care whether you're Republican, whether you're Democrat, whether you're independent, whether you consider yourself a constitutionalist, or whether you consider yourself whatever. We as a nation, if you believe in our nation, if you believe in our founding principles and the Constitution, all of what's going on right now should be a cause for concern. Right now, they're trying to make Orange Man bad the big thing. Orange Man bad is the biggest distraction that you can ever possibly see, because Trump is a good bad guy. He is. He's rough, he's abrasive, he says what he thinks, he means what he says, and he stands on business. So a lot of people don't like that. And that's understandable. But he's been made to be something that he's not. And I'm telling you guys right now, whether you love him or whether you hate him, it's a distraction both ways. Because, and I'm going to give you the example on both hands. So like, let's say you love Trump. He's a distraction because people have so much faith in Trump. Now they're not getting active locally. Now they're not supporting local candidates. Now they're not going to school board meetings. They're not going to their city council meetings because they're like, oh, Trump will take care of everything. Trump is going to save us all. No, he's not. He's one man. He's a president. He can't even do all of that if he wanted to. And on the other side, you got the left. He's the devil. He's destroying everything. He's just, again, just another distraction. And what is the goal of all of this distraction on both sides? It's to take the people's eyes off of what is really going on. The push for globalism is still going on. The Western elite are still pushing their eat the bugs nonsense. Okay, if you're not familiar with the eat the bugs, just go search it up. Okay, they want us to eat bugs. They're trying to get rid of meat. They're trying to get rid of cows because cow parts apparently damage the ozone, and they're so bad for the ozone, and they create so much methane. It's ridiculous. But go look it up. They want us to eat plant-based meat, and it's not like plant from agricultural production. It's plant from a laboratory, that type of a mechanical plant. That's what they want you to eat. This is serious, and people need to understand how serious and desperately serious it is. These people behind the scenes, George Soros, what's the other guy's name? His name is slipping my mind right now. But people like George Soros, Bill Gates, and stuff like that. And I just named those people because they're more pronounced, right? Like those are the people that are serving the hidden hand that we know actively are serving them. You know, somebody told me earlier, oh, well, you're just saying George Soros as a boogeyman. No, I'm not. I'm saying George Soros as the bag man. He's the one that's funding all of this separatism and division in our country. And we know it. We got it's not even a ton of paperwork that you got to follow to find it, that it's him. You know, and now he's got his son out there running amok. Okay. So, and man, why can I see the other guy's head in my face, but face in my head, but I can't remember his name for whatever reason. It'll come to me. But yeah, these things are a problem. And these people, like, think about it. Like, people say, oh, well, the Illuminati is in control of everything, or 13 families, or the, what do you call them? Or the Rothschilds, or the Bilderbergs, or all of this. What, you thought Trump got elected and all these cuckoo crazy people that are trying to kill off the population just went away? You think they just tucked their tails behind their, between their legs and ran away? You think one man scared all of these people away? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The fight continues, you guys. Like, there is a complete push to destabilize America, to turn over America, to turn us into a more authoritarian, what would you say, a more authoritarian surveillance state, similar to what China is right now, similar to what we're seeing in England right now, where they just arrest random people for praying in public. You guys, if you're following me, hit the heart button, hit the share button, definitely get this message out there. If you're on my YouTube, definitely hit the follow button or subscribe, okay? And if you drop a comment, I will do my best to share it up on the screen. And even if you don't want to say anything in the comment, just drop a American flag or a thumbs up in the comments, okay? So let's continue. So all of these people, they didn't go away. These bad, super bad people that want to collapse society and depopulate everybody. I'll give you the best example I can, because I mentioned Bill Gates. Bill Gates did an interview last week with CNBC and Bloomberg. And he said, in 10 years, we won't need people anymore. This is his quote. Bill Gates said out his mouth, this is the man who's tried to encourage you guys to eat bugs, to get rid of all the meat, to chop down the trees and bury all the trees, allegedly to sequester carbon. How you going to, the trees sequester carbon? You going to cut down the trees that take in the carbon dioxide and then say that you're doing something for the environment? Sound crazy. Anyway, this guy right here is on the TV, CNBC and Bloomberg, the money people, okay, and Forbes, talking about in 10 years, people won't be necessary anymore because AI will do everything. I don't disagree with him. But the concerning part is he's telling you exactly what time it is. Are y'all listening? He's letting you know what's coming, and it's coming fast. And this is the same thing I've been warning about. But he's letting you know that he knows that he's pushing this, because remember, he's in control of Microsoft, and Microsoft is knee deep in the whole thing with the AI and pushing that stuff. Okay? This is serious, you guys. These evil, devious people didn't go away. They didn't just drop off the face of the earth because Trump became president. They're really still behind the scenes manipulating both sides, the Republicans and the Democrats, especially the Democrats right now, because it's about largely the electorate. The Republican electorate won't really go for a lot of the nonsense, but the Democrats just cave to whatever it is, largely. And that doesn't go for every Democrat, but that goes for a lot of them that consider themselves to be diehard. And that's a serious, serious issue. And I wish that they would wake up, because they used to be against the federal government as well. Now they want to make it bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's crazy to me. It's crazy. Somebody just dropped a comment. Let's see what we got. Kevin says, I like the God's Not Dead movie series. That was a good series. I like the God's Not Dead movie series, as well as the Newsboys band. I even got to watch the Newsboys perform in Binghamton before COVID. So I'm not familiar with the new Newsboys band, but I do like New Politics. They got some real serious songs. Like, not all of their songs are real serious. Like, they're just songs, but some of the songs, real serious. But yeah, these big bad people, they never went away. They're just hiding in the shadows, manipulating things slowly and using the people in the community to do whatever they want. And that goes back to this whole thing with the hands-off events. Like, let me explain something to you. First off, drink water, stay hydrated. Hydration is very important. Most people are chronically dehydrated. I believe it's something like 97% of all Americans are chronically dehydrated. Stay hydrated. All right. So when we talk about this stuff right now, we have to remember a couple of things. We have to remember, one, there are really evil people in the world. Two, those evil people will manipulate anybody that they can either A, convince, or B, get their claws into. And three, many of those evil people are very, very financially wealthy, well off, and you wouldn't even know who they were if they were standing right in front of you. And these are very, very important things, because at the top of the pyramid, even in a couple of the lower levels of the top of the pyramid, they all go to the same schools. They all go to the same places for vacation. They all got their money in the same islands to store their financial wealth. They all got the same lawyers. They're all married into each other's family. People, this is real. Okay, it's not about party. It's about preserving our union, preserving the American Republic. And if we don't start to unite and stand and push back and say no more, it's going to be over. It's going to be over. And whether you love Trump or hate Trump, Trump ain't coming to save nobody. He can barely save himself. If he didn't have the grace of God, that man be dead in the grave right now. How many times they try to take that man out that we saw, that we know about? Not even the ones that they stopped. You know, and people are like, oh, well, some of the assassination attempts on him were fake. Fake, fake. No, no, no. They weren't. They want that man dead because he gives people hope. And if you can steal the hope from them, they'll become completely hopeless. And if they become hopeless, you get one of two things. You get people that are easily manipulated to very serious acts of violence, or you get people that are completely docile. And that's what they're trying to do right now. Again, now because Trump is in office, they've got the left that they're using as tools. We'll see them do something very serious very soon, I guarantee you. And I'm very concerned. But as we watch this march forward, we have to look at what's happening on different levels of politics. I'm happy about them trying to bring all of the manufacturing back to the US, because it is right what Bill Gates said, whether I like him or not, whether he's talking real afflicted and out the side of his neck or whatever the case is, he's not wrong. AI is coming for everybody's job. The CBO, the Central Budget Office, okay, you can go look this up. They say that AI is going to take about 80% of the jobs, I think it's 70 to 80% of the jobs by 2040, okay? This is serious. They say the projection is it's going to take about 50% of the jobs by 2035. This is real. This is serious. So if we don't bring manufacturing back into the US, we're going to be in serious peril anyway. Because not just in case of war, but in case of we need to do something governmentarily to make sure that our people are able to have the goods that they need. So I see a lot that's going to transpire in the next couple of upcoming years in the best case scenario. But that's why I encourage everybody to get active locally. Because if you get active locally, you can actually start to effectuate change in your area. Get active locally. Now, real quick, make sure you hit the thumbs up, hit the share button, subscribe if you're not subscribed, or follow. And even if you're on listening to us on the radio, you can donate. You can donate via Cash App, or you can donate via PayPal or Venmo. We've got Cash App. It's $MW Real, the number one. That's $MW Real 1, the digit 1. And we also have Venmo and PayPal, which is at Marcus C. Williams. We've even got GiveSendGo.com/Marcus C. Williams. Now, as we fight forward together, we have to start bringing our various groups to together for different issues locally to start making a difference. Are there bad policies? Is there bad legislation? Are the schools failing? Is crime out of control? Because we have to address these things on local levels, and then we can address them on the state levels, and then we can get to the federal level. But we have to do it at home on the ground first. That's where you can make the most change. Go to a school board meeting, go to a town council meeting, okay, go to a fire district meeting or whatever you got where you are. Zoning planning meeting. You know, they got a number of different meetings that you can go to start to get more involved. Because if we don't do it, nobody's coming to save us. And that is my continued message to everybody. Nobody is coming to save us. It is up to us to save ourselves. Also, buy more ammo. For real. And if you don't have your gun permit, go get your gun permit. ASAP. Okay? ASAP. Stay strapped, right? Put that on a shirt. But I laugh, but I'm serious. I laugh to keep from crying because we are in a very serious time right now. We really, really very much so are. And there are so many people, especially on the right. Yes, right now I'm about to come hard for the right. Also pause. But here's the issue. Why are so many people that consider themselves Republicans or conservatives or constitutionalists, why aren't you getting active? Are you helping your local candidates? Are you donating at least? No. Not in the numbers that we need you to. Are you volunteering? No. We just saw Pennsylvania seat in a special election go to a leftist, far leftist, in a red district. Why? Scott Pressler, okay, was talking about how the Republicans there weren't taking it seriously and they didn't put enough energy into it. And he was right, and they lost in a red district to a far leftist. How does that happen? We look at what just happened in Wisconsin, okay? They got a leftist judge in there that ran on leftist stuff. I don't even know how she was able to do that because they got this thing called judicial discretion. I guess her judicial wasn't discretion. And I laugh to keep from crying, y'all, but this stuff is really, really serious. And she got elected, and now, because again, not enough people got active. But more so, what we're also seeing is not enough Republicans are coming out to vote because they're just so enamored that Trump's in office. Everybody's lackadaisical right now. Everybody's sitting chilling. It's not time to chill, y'all. It's time to get active. The evil is in play. They are out there mobilizing. And what are you going to do? Sit on your hands because you got work, because you got you can't do anything because you got kids. You think they don't got kids? You think they don't? Some of them don't. A lot of them don't because they like to kill the babies. But a lot of them do, and they got jobs too. And here they are donating their time, volunteering their energy, and it's like pulling teeth to get Republicans and conservatives active for good candidates. Not rhinos, not the right left. I mean, the right light, not that. For actual good conservative and good Republican candidates, it's hard to get people active. So I encourage you, wherever you're watching from, volunteer for one of the good candidates that you've got in your area. Donate to one of the good candidates you got in the area that you are in. Okay? Get active, because if we don't support our candidates, we are going to lose all of the seats in our local elections this year and in any special elections that come up and in the House and in the Senate as we come up upon the midterms. Like, y'all got to get active. If you guys think so much of Trump and that Trump's so great or whatever, we need more people to support the actual citizens. Trump can't do anything on his own. No president can. And that's not me carrying water for Trump, because that's, again, you know me, I'm about local politics. That's where it matters. Okay? We got to get active, though, because the evil is not sleeping. Y'all, let me say that again real slowly, because I think like a lot of people are not getting it. Evil does not sleep. So understand that they are modernizing, they are mobilizing, and they are out for blood. Have you been watching the posts that they have? They're angry and they're mad and they're ready to do something with all the fervor and rage that they have. Where's that energy from us? Where's that energy? I don't know. I don't see any type of the level of energy that I saw during COVID, people protesting and stuff like that. It's so despicable. It makes me want to spit. And this is a real issue. Hit the thumbs up, hit the like, hit the heart, drop a comment. I'll do my best to pop the comment up on the screen. Every comment helps. Every share helps. So keep it going. All right. So listen, you guys, we got so much going on in the right direction. Okay. People are trying to tell us the tariffs are bad, but we already got 50 different countries that are starting to capitulate already. So the tariffs are good. They're removing trade barriers with the U.S. Now, for me, I am kind of concerned about globalization in that manner, but the people that are complaining about the tariffs aren't concerned about the same thing that I'm concerned about. Now, we didn't put enough tariffs on China or the European Union like I would have liked. But I am happy to go watch the European Union and what's that lady's name? Lagrange, whatever her name is. I can't stand her. Okay, she ain't nothing but a Nazi. I got lots of words for her. But she is a straight Nazi. That's not even a joke. Okay, there's no mincing words there. She's terrible. And Vandala, what's her name? Vandala Ursuline, something like that. I can't remember the other one. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The direction that we're going is positive. And I like to see Europe squirm. Okay, I really do. Because they've been treating the U.S. bad for years, and I've talked about it before Trump come on the scene. They think they're so much better than us, but they're so reliant on us. China's out there trying to act like they're doing something, but they are doing something because they're putting more tariffs on the U.S. too, because Trump only put, 34% tariffs on them, and they're at like 76% tariffs on us. And I guess that's to not start a whole dragged out trade war, and that's to try to bring them to the table on a number of discussions. But really, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. And I know people are like, oh, well, the tariffs are going to raise the prices on certain foreign goods and stuff like that. That's exactly why we need to bring the manufacturing back to the U.S., you guys. The more manufacturing that is in the U.S., the more American jobs there are. Period. Point blank. That's it. The more manufacturing that is in the U.S., the more safe and secure our supply line is, so that what happened during COVID when everything got shut down internationally, that doesn't happen again. Hello? We're very close on the verge of war on many levels. We need a secure supply line that is internally in our country. We can't depend on anybody else. That is a fact. And it's shown by, China trying to restrict our access to rare earth minerals because they've made so much rare earth mineral deals and stolen them from so many countries, including many in Africa and stuff like that. What are we doing? I'll give you a great example. Right now, the U.S. is trying to negotiate with Ukraine on a minerals deal. And Zelensky, because the Democrats, this is crazy. This is the craziest thing that I've heard in months. And I watched the whole thing happen, and it just blew my mind. Like, I got a lot of thoughts and a lot of words, and they're very colorful, and none of them are very pleasant. But Zelensky met with the Democrats before he met with Trump. And the Democrats told him, do not make the rare earth mineral deal with Trump, thereby hobbling our country from a potential resource that is desperately needed in our country. And you know what happened during that whole situation with Trump and Zelensky on the air? His foreign ministers, Zelensky's foreign ministers, were freaking out. They were freaking out, jaw agape, just tripping, because they were supposed to sign that minerals deal. That was great security thing for the Ukraine. But Zelensky is only concerned about himself. He's not concerned about the Ukrainian people. Okay, he's concerned about buying a new house. One of his, what's he on, 15 houses, something like that we know about? Buying a new yacht. He's concerned about buying his wife a new $10 million necklace. Like, you can't make this stuff up. It's insane. You understand what I'm saying? This guy used to be a comedian before he got elected to be president. How's he got $10 million to spend on on necklaces and jewelry for his wife. Explain it to me like I'm 5, yo. So this is very, very serious. But he was like, no, I'm not going to do it because the Democrats told him not to. He knows where his bread is buttered, and he didn't want to go against them. But his ministers and the people with him, they were flipping out. They're like, how could you do that? That's a betrayal of our country and all of this and all of that. It's a problem. Now his foreign minister is coming. Is it the deputy minister or the foreign minister? It doesn't matter. Is coming to Washington either later this week or next week to attempt to secure a rare mineral deal with Trump. So that's a positive thing. But also in the meantime, Russia said that they'll give us a rare earth mineral deal. Okay. Yes, give now. Okay. Because China's a serious problem. And everybody's like, oh, Russia bad, because you've been hammered into your head that Russia's so bad. Russia might be bad. Okay. Ain't nobody ever said that they was good. But you know who's worse, way worse by a exponential number? China. China has an open plan to take over the world. Like that's not even like a joke. Like they actively say they're going to take over the world and they mean it. Like they have a whole plan that you can look up. Like it's crazy. Like their 2050 plan. They got like 100-year plan. They update it like every 5 to 10 years and stuff like that. But you got to go look it up. It's just mind blowing. And it's very serious. Now the president of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, I don't know if you guys know what's going on down there. They're just killing up the Christians down there. It's terrible. And nobody's talking about all of the Christians being killed in the Congo or in the Sudan or in Syria or in Lebanon or nowhere over there. We can't talk about that. But, hey, back to the Congo, though. So the president of the Congo was like, listen, man, we got a lot of rare earth minerals. U.S., come make a deal, build some stuff, help us with some infrastructure, take these rare earth minerals. If I was Trump, I'd have been like, yes, and yes, I'll be there tomorrow. Okay, what time did you say? Yes, I'm already there. I'm on the plane already. We're already there. We're mining today starting at 1 p.m. You understand what I'm saying? If you guys don't know about the Democratic Republic of Congo, they're one of the most mineral-rich places in the world. And China is exploiting them to high heaven. They just funded the Rwandan people that are funding the terrorist campaign against the government of the Democratic Republic of Congo. So when the guy said that, and I haven't heard Trump say not a word about it, I'm upset. Because if he would have said that and I was the president, I'd been like, done. Matter of fact, if y'all want to become part of the U.S., you got that too. You know what I'm saying? You tell me how we about to make this work. Let's make this work. Because Congo is very much so deprived, and that's a whole much longer conversation than we got time for today. But when the Congo said that, I'd have been all over that. You ain't got to tell me twice. So, but these are the type of conversations that we need to have and we need to be involved in. Rare earth minerals go into everything that you guys love so much, the computers, the iPhones, the cars, the everything. Not to mention we need them for the production of chips and different modules and stuff like that, and our upcoming boom for the ships that we've got to build and the air fleet that we have to build, as well as the different drones that we have to build. And we need this stuff bad, big bad. That's why it's also important for us to do what we can to either incorporate parts of Canada or to, I don't know, beat them with a bat until they come into compliance. Like, it's really only two options there, because the people in Canada right now, not the actual people, but the people in office out there, it's a mess. It's a mess. They're globalist monsters. Like the one guy ran the Bank of International Settlement. Like, if you guys don't know what the Bank of International Settlement is, like we were talking earlier, the Bilderbergs, the Rothschilds, all of that nonsense, look up the BIS, the Bank of International Settlement. They're the worst, like the worst. They are the big bad, okay? Like, you think the Federal Reserve is bad, they the big bad, okay? Federal Reserve is bad, but they ain't got nothing on the BIS. The BIS is at the top of that evil right there, okay? And he ran that. What's his name? Mark Carney, okay? Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. And he's trying to globalize Canada really fast and everything like that. They're not going to make it, though. they're not going to make it from these tariffs. They can't, there's just not enough desire for the few products that they do make. That's why most of their trade is with the US. And he's like, well, we got to make us less reliant on the US or whatever the case is. Ain't nobody trying to hear none of that because that's not realistic, but China is all up and through Canada. And you guys have to understand that. So that's part of the reason why Trump wants to integrate Canada into the US as well, because it's about security. And I don't know, matter of fact, go look it up. China doing exercises with Canada, inside Canada's borders. Okay, look up the whole thing with Huawei and the executive's daughter from Huawei. What happened with that? There's a whole bunch of other backstory with China being inserted into Canada and everything that they're doing and manipulating there. It's real serious. And we have to get ahead of this. We do also need Greenland. Okay, it would be a boom for us to get Greenland because they've got a lot of rare earth minerals, and we need all of the rare earth minerals that we can get. They also have a great amount of territory that allows us great access to the North Sea. Well, I guess the North Sea is more of where Russia is, but to the Arctic Sea, whatever you want to call it, right? But yeah, so it gives us a very good placement. But we got to have these serious and important conversations because there's a lot of evil behind the scenes that's moving, that's trying to break down the US as a whole, as a nation, because they're pushing globalism. And that's not me saying that anybody in the offices are good or whatever. There are people that are less bad. That's a fact. And there are people that have good policies. That's a fact. But when somebody that you like or whatever has a bad policy, you need to say something about it too. You don't just stay silent because you like them. No, if they have a bad policy, you need to hold them accountable. These are very important things that we need to and must do. And I do encourage you yet again, share this, like this, hit the heart, get this message out there because we need to continue to have these serious conversations every week. And if you can, do donate. You can donate on Cash App or PayPal or Venmo. We've got PayPal and Venmo. It's at Marcus C. Williams. We've got Cash App, which is $MW Real, the number 1. That's $MW Real 1. So we're working to raise $50 to $100 an episode. So donate what you can, $10, $25, $50, whatever. And we're also looking to get more airtime so we can have more of these important conversations. If you're online, make sure that you are subscribed or following my page. If you're listening to us on the radio, make sure you tell your friends, your family, your enemies. Every week, Mondays, 2:30 to 4 p.m., tune into The Divide on WRFZ 106.3. Definitely share this out, you guys. And in closing, this is what I'm going to say to you guys. We've talked a lot about a lot of different issues, and a lot of positive things are inside what we were talking about for the direction of our country. But the only way for us really to end positive results for our nation is for us as the citizens to start getting active on the local level. And that requires that we go to our school board meetings. That requires that we help our local candidates run for office. That requires us to do our duty as American citizens, and that's participate in our government. That's why the First Amendment allows us the ability to redress our grievances with our government. That is my favorite part of the whole Constitution. Second only maybe to the Second Amendment. But I'd redress my grievances with my government elected officials all the daggone time. And I'm happy to be able to share this show with you guys. Please share it out, support the show, donate, do what you can. It's also down in the ticker below. You can see how to donate. I'll catch you guys later. Remember, stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. Take action. Y'all be blessed and be well. All right, you guys, we are off air, on the air. So we're off air, regular air, but I'm still here with you guys. You guys, we've got so much going on right now that we need to make sure that not only are we active, but we're paying attention to what's going on. Don't take anything any of these people are saying as gospel. Look at it, see what the long-term impacts are going to be, and then make your assessment. Because what we're seeing a lot now is people are saying, oh, well, the tariffs, I'm just going to use this as an example. The tariffs are hurting people. They're hurting, and they haven't hurt anybody yet. They didn't even get put in place. They don't even go into, is it the 14th or something? They don't even go into place yet. What are you talking about? Right? Like they're like, oh, well, it spooked the markets. The markets, the fear is what drives the markets. You understand what I'm saying? Like the markets don't even matter. That doesn't affect how much money people are spending at stores. You know, like that's crazy. Like, don't let these people mislead you. So, and again, I'm using the tariffs as an example, but this is a wider range of things in general. So they're trying to turn people against that, saying it's a bad thing. And now I'm going to talk about the housing crisis for a second. So they're talking about the illegal aliens, right? So let's get rid of all the illegal aliens. Let's get rid of all the illegal aliens. Bet. Okay. I support that. But people on the other hand are saying, oh, well, you can't get rid of the illegal aliens. First off, why? But anyway, they're like, don't get rid of all the illegal aliens, whatever, whatever. Let me tell you, you guys know Zwillow, okay, the people that do all the houses and stuff like that, and they own like something like 15% of the houses in the country, which is crazy. How did they do that? Let's not even talk about that and the hedge funds and the brokerages and all the other crazy, shady stuff that's going on. But anyway, the guy that's the CEO of Zwillow was on the TV with Bloomberg on Bloomberg News, okay, talking about, man, they're going to make the housing market have over 10 million, wait a second, he said almost 10 million free up housing if they get rid of these illegal aliens. He's like, if they get rid of them, they're going to make the housing market value go down and houses are going to be less expensive if they get rid of the illegal aliens. And he's crying basically on the TV. He's like, oh my God, my money is running away from me. He's crying on Bloomberg. Go watch it. Go watch it. It's crazy. It's like you can see that he's kind of mad that they're getting rid of illegal aliens because he's talking about it's going to hurt his pockets. It's going to end up having a whole bunch of houses on the market when we're in the middle of a housing crisis because people aren't able to buy houses. How's he mad? Because these are these bad people that are really manipulating our country, that are really in power, that are really messing everything up for all of us. This is serious, man. That's why they don't want a lot of what Trump is doing or whatever, because they see it hurting their bottom line. They see it hurting their bottom line. And one thing that I heard that you guys probably didn't hear, because there's this one guy and I encourage you to check him out. Probably a little bit above everybody's pay grade, but it's what is it? Nomad Capitalist or something like that. I can't remember exactly what the name of his show is, but you'll find it. Anyway, basically what they do is they basically talk about how to save money by going to other countries and investing in other countries and becoming citizens in other countries and stuff like that. Okay, and he's got his own company. They do clients that make more than $1 million, that have more than $1 million in assets, right? Not make $1 million a year. They've got more than $1 million in assets. So he helps them protect their money and protect their future. And he was like, man, Trump's about to raise taxes on rich people, man. So let me help you get out the country or shield your money because Trump's about to raise taxes on the rich people. Well, but wait, this guy that's got money, whose clients are all about money, is telling rich people that Trump's about to raise taxes on rich people. Now, I've watched this guy for some years. He's not really a person that's very big on politics, but he always talks about the impact of policies and how to make sure that you can keep your money. So he's talking about Trump's going to raise taxes on the wealthy. But I thought the Democrats and all of these talking heads were saying that Trump is cutting taxes on the wealthy, that he's not going to charge taxes on the wealthy, that he's helping all of his billionaire friends and stuff like that. Well, clearly, this guy that deals with the wealthy and deals with their money and helping them preserve it is saying that that's definitely the opposite of reality. So, I mean, if he's out here saying that, probably something to it, you know? So, but you don't hear that from the left. You don't hear that from the Democrats that Trump's looking to raise taxes on the wealthy. And now, whether it's a ton or a little bit or whatever the case is, the way that this guy was talking about it, he seemed fairly concerned, you know, which was interesting. I felt, because I hadn't seen him that concerned really ever about such a thing. But that I found to be interesting. So here's what I'm going to leave you guys with, because I do got to get ready to take off. Do share this. Do like this. Do hit some hearts. Drop some comments, okay? And make sure that you share this and get this out. We need to have more of these very important conversations, because if we're not having them, they're never going to happen. We can do this. We can make a difference together. Get out. Get active. I'll catch you guys later. Be blessed and be well. Stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. Take action.